home of the National Luftfahrt Themapark Aviodrome, a place where memories are preserved and dreams inspired, and home of one of the last DC-2s still in flying condition. The aircraft is painted in the markings of one of the most famous Dutch aircraft, the Uiver. Teams from around the world had gathered at the RAF base in Mildenhall. "60,000 people come to see the start of the race. First off are Amy and Jim Mullison in the DH-88 Comet Black Magic. Next is Roscoe Turner flying the Boeing 247. Then the Pandar S-4 gets away. The Uiver is the 7th plane to start. For a short while, the passengers are able to see other competitors flying alongside them as they all race for the coast. The passengers marvel at how fast and far they are going. There was a small galley at the rear of the cabin. The purser, Prins, served as cook and steward. The first meal served was a Dutch delicacy, smoked eel. The pilot, Parmentier, comes and announces a change in plans. They're going to pass by Marseille and go straight to Rome. So instead of going around the Alps, they have to find a way through them. The landing at Rome will be the first of 19 stops made during the race. Almost all of the stops will follow the same pattern. Landing on an unpaved field. On average, each stop only lasted 30 minutes. Crowds of reporters and autograph seekers would greet them. 235 gallons of fuel and 7 gallons of oil. Soon the Uiver is back in the air, heading southeast. Past Mount Vesuvius. Across the Ionian Sea. Sunset along the coast of Turkey. Under a full moon over ancient Syria. At night, the seats were converted into beds. The Uiver makes its way across the Indian subcontinent. The wireless radio gives updates on the weather and the other planes still in the race. They learn about the Pandar S-4 crashing during its takeoff from Allahabad. And that Roscoe Turner is right behind them. And closing fast. The rest of the world is following the race on their radios as well.
And now for the news.
Batavia, capital of the Dutch East Indies. Thousands greet them at the airfield. Each one is asked to say a few words for the radio. Everyone is keenly aware that they are flying over shark-infested waters. A few days later, while flying over the same stretch of ocean, Jimmy Melrose runs out of fuel. And has to make a dead-stick landing at Port Darwin. Navigating across the vastness of the Northern Territory proves difficult, because landmarks were few and far between. While refueling at Cloncurry, they get the word that Scott and Campbell have reached Melbourne and have won the speed portion of the race. But the race isn't over. There is still the handicapped race to be won. So the Uiver keeps racing on to Charleville. They circle the field a couple of times before getting a signal to land. Once they are on the ground, they get stuck in some mud and have to be pulled out. "45 minutes later, they take off for Melbourne. With Melbourne just a short ways ahead, they run into severe thunderstorms. Captain Parmentier tries to fly over and around the storms, but runs into icing conditions instead. Ice flying off the propellers pounds the fuselage. Losing altitude, the Uiver turns back. The storm disrupts radio communication with the ground. Signalers at the RAAF base in Laverton realize that the Uiver is in trouble. They send messages to towns and stations along the route to be ready to assist. The crew can see the lights of a town below them. But which town? The people in the town know that it's the Uiver flying above. But how do they contact it? Someone gets the brilliant idea to use the town's streetlights to spell out the town's name in Morse code. And a Mr. Lyle Ferris made it happen. The crew sees the flashing lights, realizes that it's Morse code, but because of turbulence, never quite read it all. Arthur Newnham goes on the air at the local radio station, 2CO, and urges people with cars and trucks to go to the local racetrack. About 80 cars and trucks hurry to the racetrack. They line up along the east and west sides of the track. Albury to Amsterdam, the world rejoices at the safe landing of the Uiver. The Uiver has sunk into the rain-soaked turf up to its axles. The crew asks Cecil Meredith to take charge of getting the plane onto firmer ground. To lighten the plane for takeoff, seats, luggage, passengers, 2 crew, and over 25,000 pieces of mail are unloaded. They'll make the 1-hour trip to Melbourne by train. Soon the Uiver is over Melbourne, being guided to the racetrack at Flemington. And then on to the aerodrome at Laverton. And so ended the Uiver's part in the great MacRobertson Air Trophy race.